Hello, students. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if my voice is audible from your end? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are able to hear my voice properly? Thank you, Firdaus. Now, students, don't worry. Today we are going to do one question. And after doing this question, students, what we will effectively do is I'll give you an assessment. Definitely by tomorrow you will get that. You can do it by your own, and I will mark your assessments also. So, students, as I told you, let's start working on this question step by step so that you will understand how we can effectively do well in the examination as well. So if you observe, students, I told you whenever you go to the examination, your first priority should be what? You have to always identify the question requirement and the percentage of marks. Now, students, if it is 40% means 4 paragraphs is enough. If it is 60% means 6 paragraphs is enough. And you can design it by your own. Don't worry about it, like what we did in the previous class. Now, students, if you observe this question, let's observe the first one. Firstly, I need some guidance on the accounting treatment for goodwill. Since we are using fair value method, and how are we going to have challenges with regards to goodwill and NCI? So effectively, we are going to have some explanation with regards to the challenges on the goodwill calculation with regards to NCI and the goodwill for this case study. Secondly, please evaluate a stress testing process for the 4 criteria that is mentioned. Now, students, stress testing is an area in risk management, P2. So we are going to analyze those two with our common sense and the technical understanding. So what I do is I'll just write down here challenges associated with the goodwill estimation and also the NCI, goodwill estimation, and also what, students? NCI, that is also done. Then students, if I'm not mistaken, secondly, evaluate. So I'll write down here, evaluation of stress testing process. Evaluation of what, students? Stress testing process. So there are 4 criteria they have effectively given. So students, if I'm not mistaken, can we move forward with the discussions in detail, if you don't mind? Can we move forward with the discussions in detail, if I'm not mistaken? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with that? Yeah. Now, I believe that everyone has got the idea on the first step. The first step on analyzing the headings and making sure you frame it properly, because the total time they will give you is only how many minutes in the examination? It's only going to be 45 minutes in the examination. Now, students, let's observe this carefully. Chandrasekhar has sent you the following mail. Now, you have to understand Chandrasekhar is the COO. Okay. Company is planning to implement an e-commerce platform. Therefore, they have observed some online stores as well. One of the online store was Carmart, popular for selling used cars in the platform. Generally, the people in the market are preferring to directly sell to someone who wants to buy instead of using a dealer. So they can even earn a better amount compared with the dealership commissions. So students, now if you observe, this is a practical issue. Now Carmart is a platform. Okay, now you know where we are living. So you know we are in Welland, and you are aware how the Welland market is effectively focusing. So in that case, students, if you observe the explanation very clearly, Carmart is what, students, in simple language, Carmart is effectively an online website where it's C to C, consumer to consumer. That means you can sell your car to another person without the interference of a dealer. So did you understand this is the business model? Can I get a Y in the chat box? Now, when you go to the exam, one thing I have to always tell you, engage with the question. When you're reading the question, don't go for fast reading. Processing is more important than reading. Now, when I read, I always think that there is a communication taking place between myself and someone else. So are you clear with this, students? Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you understood that application properly, students? So that is the basic ideology with regards to that. Thank you. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, let's work on this. This has been a major challenge for the organization where the sales are effectively falling due to mainly because of the drift in the consumer mindset. Now, that means second-hand cars, now people are not coming to a dealer and selling it. They're directly selling it through the online store. There's a drift in the consumer mindset. So, the management is keen to make sure that we too entered this platform as well. Therefore, the management is considering acquiring another organization which is similar to Carmart, known as Second Chance. So in this case, we are going to buy another organization, which is what, students? Second Chance. Can I quickly get a confirmation? Are you clear with the action? Engage with the question. First paragraph was explaining the new trend in the market where consumers are selling using a platform instead of dealership. This is how you should read in the exam. Processing. Repeat the paragraphs again in your mind. The second paragraph is saying the actions what we have taken. In summary, the actions we are taking is what, students? Acquisition of a similar company. We call it as a proxy company in this case. Second Chance is an unlisted company. And the company has been started by, country company, and the company has been started by new university graduates. Therefore, in that case, the graduates are effectively needing funds to run this organization. So they have requested Cuppcar to make sure, if possible, to invest 80% of the funds needed for 80% stake, 80% stake of the organization. This looks very much positive investment in case if we execute it. To understand it very clearly, students, you can invest in this company 80% and you will be getting 80% holding. So students, 20% is NCI. So if you observe, students, 20% is known as non-controlling interest. I will come to that. Further, we need to make sure that we have some analysis on the key performance indicators using stress testing, where we have to identify factors associated with priority, measurement, productivity, and flexibility, so that in case if there are any adverse effects or change management, we can effectively make sure that we have a better management system as well. Okay, students, so can we start working on this? Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? If you are clear with this, students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with that? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, let's start working step by step. So challenges associated with Goodwill. So the first challenge is, I'll give you an explanation and then let's go into the challenges. Now, students, you see investment needed is 80% fund, and you will be getting for 80% fund investment, 80% stake. Agree now, students? That is one thing. Now, students, in case if you invest 80%, 20% balance will be known as non-controlling interest. Will be known as non-controlling interest. Students, are you clear with the idea of what is non-controlling interest? In an organization where a majority investor is there, the non-controlling interest are the balance. In old term for non-controlling interest was minority interest. So minority interest was the old term. Minority interest was the old term. I believe everyone has got that clarity. Sridevi, are you clear with the idea of non-controlling interest, Sridevi? If you need further explanation, I can guide you. But are you fine with this minority interest understanding? Just want to get the clarity.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So students, now I'm going to make it business-oriented challenges. Now, first thing as students, this is very, very important IFRS knowledge, and students, you must go through the videos which is there in the classroom. So IFRS knowledge, if you see IFRS 3, that is Business combination is the area which is governing this, and there is one more standard called IFRS 13, which we call it as fair value what students? Fair value what students? Measurement, fair value measurement. IFRS 3 business combination, IFRS 13, which is effectively known as what students? Fair value measurement. Are you fine with this, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you're fine with this IFRS 3 business combination and IFRS 13 fair value measurement? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, I will guide you all these things, but examiner wants two things from the students. Step one, what is expected by the examiner is technical demonstration. Technical demonstration of the standard. Only one question will come like this. In every exam paper, one question is definitely technical demonstration. Are you fine with this step number one, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with this step number one, technical demonstration of the standard? Can I quickly get a confirmation? That is, you have to know what is this standard is referring to. What are we using from this standard? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are okay with the technical demonstration of the standard? Then the step two, it's not complicated. What is step two is business judgment. Step two is what, students? Business judgment. And actually the examiner is wanting both. You can't write one and pass, but business judgment will help you to get a rank. If you are planning for a rank, help you to get a rank. Help you to get a rank if you are trying for a rank. Just a guidance. Now, if you are working in an organization in today's perspective, we can use ChatGPT for technical demonstration. So I will just guide you what is the future. So ChatGPT can be used for this. It will give you a properly structured note about the ideas. Can I get a Y in the chat box if you don't mind? But the only biggest challenge is business judgment, because the system will give you judgments only based on the database. Human database is always erased, but human database is always up to date. You will only remember things, whatever you learn today. Correct? So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this technical demonstration and a business judgment? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this technical demonstration and business judgment also? Can I get a confirmation if you don't mind, students? Yeah. So students, let's move on to more practical aspects, more in detail, to get this understanding and application sorted as well. So the next thing, students, if I am not mistaken, is it's not complicated. It's a very, very simple application. I'll ask you business issues. Now, what are the business challenges we will be facing in case if we are going for an estimation of a goodwill? The biggest business challenge that we will be facing in this case is it's a website or a platform, we can say. Now, website and a platform, very difficult for estimation of value. Estimation of value is very tough. What do you think, Sridevi? Can you easily estimate the value of a website like estimating the value of a land and a building? I don't think so, right? Because websites is very hard. So estimation of value is not easy. That is one business challenge. The next business challenge is, students, what about the future? Any disruptions? Can there be any disruptions in the future, students? Example of a disruption is, students, have you heard in Facebook now they have something called Facebook Marketplace? How many of you all have heard something called Facebook Marketplace? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Now, that is a disruption. Correct now, students, if I'm not mistaken. So Facebook Market Challenge will become an extreme, it will be a big challenge for any organization. Keep that in mind, students, because that is very, 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 very important and essential as well. And the next one, students, if I'm not mistaken, I will just make it very simple and very easier. The other thing, students, the profile of the NCI, because the graduates, the profile of the NCI. Now, we don't have technical expertise, correct? No, students, do we have any technical expertise at the moment with regards to web designing, data analytics? Nothing. So in that case, it will become a very, very bigger challenge for us when comparing this application also. So are you clear with this point of view? Because this is the applied thinking, students, that is essential. So can I get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this process? And one more thing, if I'm not mistaken, cyber security, because people are buying through online stores, cyber security and data privacy. Data privacy. So these are the main factors that you have to consider as well. So I believe everyone has got the business judgment properly. So I can guide you with the technical demonstration first. And before technical demonstration, I have to guide you a quick revision of IFRS 13, which we call it as fair value measurement standard. It's less than 15 years. It's just around 11 years old standard. It's not a very, very old standard. Now, fair value means, students, fair value is the price paid or price paid for an asset or investment. This is my own way of writing. Or expected to be received from an outstanding due. Because sometimes if you have outstanding dues, that is the price that you are going to effectively get it. Now, students, now fair value is very critical because if you observe, certain goods don't have fair value. Now, example, students, I will make it very, very easy and simpler to understand. It's not so complicated, very, very simple and very, very easy also. So let's effectively draw a small explanatory way of doing this. So I'll just make this a little bit bigger so the students may find it very easy for understanding this. So I believe this is observed very, very clearly. So students, you see this one, this is the hierarchy. What is this, students? This is the hierarchy. Now, if you observe the hierarchy, students, shall we have three formations? Level 1, that is 1. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, command C, command V, level 2, level 3. So we have effectively 3 levels. So I'll start with something called level 1. What is that, students? I'll start with something called, what, students? Level 1. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If I can start with the level 1. Now, level 1, before I give you definition, I'll tell gold. Gold is level 1. The reason is, if I'm not mistaken, Sridevi, gold, if you have gold with you now, the advantage of gold is what, Sridevi? We call it highly liquid, right? Correct, no,
Easy
Sridevi? If I'm
liquidity.
not, easily it can be taken. So if you observe gold, students, if you see, it's highly liquid. Everyone is aware about that. The gold is highly liquid. So in that case, students, the biggest challenge is, so I can say, active market, and observable input. Because you can see it now from your eyes, gold is tangible, market is also active, very observable and identical also. Gold is gold, students, only 24 carats, 22 carats, like that. Now level 2 is not gold. I will make it another thing because it's good, but it's very difficult. That is land. Now, if you see this, Sridevi, if you have a land with you, the biggest challenge of having a land is what, Sridevi, if I'm not mistaken? What is the biggest challenge of having a land, if I'm not mistaken?
Not an immediate liquidate property
Correct.
asset.
Can I say very slow to conversion of cash? And the reason behind that is, students, land prices vary based on locations. Now, gold is not like that, no, Sridevi. Gold is gold. US dollar is US dollar. Petrol is petrol. Correct, no, student. Shares is shares. Now, here the price vary from location to location. Example, unlisted company. Students, some unlisted company prices vary. So if you see level 1 in stock market analysis, I can effectively say a listed entity. What is the term, students? Listed entity. Now here it is unlisted entity, and the other one, students, if I'm not mistaken, I will even make it very clear for you. Level 3. Level 3, students, I'll just make it very clear. It is like new startups. New startups and projects. And what, students? Projects. Now, if you observe new startups and project, students, if I'm not mistaken, very high risk, since no active market. No what, students? Active market. Correct, no, students? No active market. So in that case, I can just write it down for you to make it even very, very easier and clear to understand. We always do a risk analysis called present value of what, students? Future, what, students? Future cash flow, present value of future cash flow. So students, are you effectively clear with this point of view? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with this level 1, level 2, level 3? Because that is very, very, very important, because this area in IFRS 13 is covered in your previous level, but it's not there. So they expect the students to have an idea of these three. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students? So I can effectively move forward with the other point of view on writing the answer. Writing the answer. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this level 1, level 2, level 3? Now, Sridevi, just want to ask you a question. If we invest in the company second chance, this investment is what level do you think, Sridevi?
It's level 3, sir.
Others, level 3, no, students, because it's actually level 3 because the company stability is uncertainty. We don't know how much the company is stable. So it's level 3 investments, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that everyone has got that understanding very, 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 very clearly. Okay, so what I will do first is I'll explain the concept. So I'll write down here IFRS 3, and I'll just make sure business combination. Now I'm writing the answer. Can you remember 3 sentences? States that goodwill needs to be calculated when the acquirer invests in another entity. In this case, the acquirer is Cuppcar. Investing to whom, students? Investing to whom, students? If I'm not mistaken. Investing to second chance. Correct, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. Investing to second chance. I believe that understanding is very, 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 very practical and very, 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 very clear for the students at the moment. The business combination states that the goodwill needs. So therefore, the challenges associated in the fair value method can be as follows. Now that is the initial explanation. So can I write down the challenges? Yeah. The first challenge I'm going to write it down is not a complicated challenge. So I just write down here. Firstly, the fair value method expects the investment and the NCI to be at fair value, market value. But the biggest challenge is NCI cannot be measured at what value? Fair value, since second chance is not listed in the stock market. And the level of investment can be considered as level 3 since this is a startup business. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with this process? Can I get that? So I told you three sentences, one paragraph. Please watch the previous video. It was properly explained. So I'll write down here. Secondly, another challenge that is associated with this business is that they are operating in e-platform. Therefore, the asset base which are tangible is very much limited. And the success of the organization is mainly because of the database and the reach they have with the customers. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if I'm not mistaken? So I believe this is also clear. The biggest challenge for data management is that data is also a level 3 resource. Correct, no, Sridevi. Can I accept with you data is level 3, Sridevi? Do you agree with me? Because very confusing, right, Sridevi, if I'm not mistaken. Raw data,
Yes, sir.
yeah, level 3. And this needs to be well evaluated as well. Therefore, the company needs to make sure that they have a better understanding of the business process, before making any investments. Since these online businesses are highly exposed to volatility, I believe that is also successfully done. And I'll just write down the last one if I'm not mistaken, students. Finally, the going concern is important. Students, frankly speaking, that is true because I have seen many talented people closing down their business because of attitude issue, not able to work as a team, not lies. This is very true. The going concern is a concern since the graduates who have recently passed out may have some understanding with regards to how they are able to manage their personal finance. Since this business is high risk, there are chances that the founders may quit in case, which may be another challenge as well, which may be another challenge where the goodwill may be impaired to zero. That can also happen. Students, can be impaired to zero. Students, can I now get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this understanding of the application properly, students? Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, but If you are fine with this, I believe it is giving you a better clarity and a understanding. So you understand it very well, students. In the examination, when you go, you need to give the technical expertise as usual, and then you need to make sure you provide a proper explanation for this situation. So I believe everyone is fine at the moment. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this? So we can go with the explanation of stress testing. It's a risk management tool. Can I get a confirmation from you? Stress testing. Thank you. So I'll just come here. Stress testing. Okay. Now I'll give you the idea in which industry they use. Airline industry. What industry, students? Airline industry. Stress testing is important. I'll tell you why. Now, I'll give you an understanding. Airline industry, the biggest risk they can face is air crash. Correct, no, students? More than hijacking, the biggest thing that can happen is what, students? Air crash. Do you agree with me, students? There are chances that there can be air crash. Now, a stress testing is very, very important for this business. They only started it first. So, example, there is a normal standard. There is a normal standard. And then they extend the standard to high risk, high, to understand the maximum potential of this. Understand the maximum potential of this. Are you clear with that, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with this point of view? I believe that is very, very clear and very practical also. So stress testing, airline industry, air crash. So there is normal standard and they can extend the standard to high in order to understand. I'll give you an idea of this. Example, mobile phone heating. Now, mobile phone students, if you see the heating issue, is a stress testing. They have not done the stress testing. The mobile phone is heating now. You may get something. The solution for this is stress testing before releasing. Stress testing before releasing to the market. That is one more thing. And the airbags in car. Now, if you see students, you need to do the stress testing and see what are the ranges of this can happen. So this is only known as stress testing. For example, students, if you have an Apple Watch or something, they would have mentioned a limit what it can go inside the water level. There is something like that. So stress testing is you have many ranges and identify the range at which it will break. That is only stress testing. Now, students, let's go for the question, if I'm not mistaken. Now they are telling evaluate stressing for the criteria. So what are the criteria they have given? One is priority. Okay, one is priority. Then students, if I'm not mistaken, the second one is measurement, productivity, and flexibility. So these are the main things. So let's come to priority. So students, can you remember? I'll just write it down. So one area is priority. Then the second area, students, measurement. And the third area, students, if I'm not mistaken, is productivity. And the last area, students, it's regarding to flexibility. So students, if you observe priority, how is the priority getting affected? The delivery process, and how long taken to provide. In simple language, supply chain management. Because you have a website, so if they promise the goods will be returning or will be in this time, it should be happening. Example, Amazon, everything, they have already done the stress testing. So that is one reason it is affected there. And the other one is measurement, students. If I'm not mistaken, I can effectively say what are the measurement for this website. In simple language, I can say the flow of data, system crash. Can you remember, students, when the data increases, system crash? So the flow of data, how many GB processing, all those things can be one thing. And productivity, if I'm not mistaken, students, speed of service is one more thing on productivity. And the flexibility, students, ability to change the order. Change the order, that all are flexibility. How many times? So you see students, companies, the mobile applications like Zomato or Uber Eats or Uber, everyone, if you see, they have done their worst case analysis very, very well. So students, I'll just write it down so that it will be very clear. So firstly, I'll give you an idea about stress testing. Stress testing is a process of risk management where the company identifies performance standards in normal ranges and make sure that they are able to have at a high standard. Students, I will give you another quick example so that your mind will be very clear. Students, if I am not mistaken, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Students, if I'm not mistaken, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Very transparently, very openly, students. It's not so complicated, very simple and very easy also. So the next thing is students, it's not so complicated, very simple and very easier. So if you see students, stress testing. Now let's assume you are doing the exams. What is the time exam? Your exam time is 45 minutes. That is the normal standards. Now, if I give you that same 45 minutes question in 30 minutes, it's a stress testing. When I give you that same question to be done in 25 minutes, it is going to be another what students, it is going to be another what students, it's going to be another what students, stress testing. But if I ask that question from Sri Devi, now 30 minutes, I have reduced the 40 minutes time. Example, is it good for you or not good for you, Sri Devi? What do you think? A 45 minutes question in the class, I'm making you all to complete by 30 minutes. What do you think, Sri Devi? Is it good or not good?
One way it
I
is
think
good in
I
the
think it's good, no, students. The reason is if you go to the exam, you will find it easy, right, at the moment, because you have already got exposed to the stress. Are you getting that understanding there? Can I get a Y in the chat box, students, if you got that idea how this banking works, how these people in the other industries come to a world-class standard? BMW, a basic example of stress testing is BMW. They go to the next level and they make sure their products are at an international standard by making sure they do the stress testing. So in the market, the standard is 45, but above the market, they go and make sure their product is a world-class standard. Now, if you are studying in countries like Japan or China, the main success is the stress testing. I think Ali is very much familiar with this because I think in the Eastern Asia, Ali, I think you all are very much familiar with the stress testing because of the speed you all have to manage, considering the transit flights you get in Malaysia, all those things. So they may have that idea how this works out. So students, get it clearly, students. Stress testing is one technique that is used, that is to become an international standard organization. Good. Now, students, priority. The delivery process and how long it can take, supply chain management. Generally, this is a car brand. So I'll edit this later. This is a car brand. Car. This is a platform. This is a platform for used car. For what, students? Used car. This is a platform for what, students? Used car, where the company needs to make sure that the process is effectively, this is a platform for used car where the company needs to make sure the process is effectively communicated to the customer. Suppose if the worst case standard is 5 days and the normal time period is 3 days, the best mechanism is to inform the customers that the car will be delivered within 7 days. This is how stress testing is applied in real life. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Now, if you promise 7 days and if you send them within 3 days, they will put 5-star rating. If you promise them 7 days and if you send with 5 days, they will put okay, good rating. But in case there won't be any deviation, maximum 7 days only. So your efficiency rate on your delivery process will be 100% effective if you follow the stress testing. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you get this ideology how I connected the stress testing? Because that is what examiner expect from the students. It's not the knowledge, it's the application and the creativity within the all. So students, this is how the stress testing is applied in real life for estimation. So students, next come to the measurement. So I'll write down here. Generally, the website is critical for business process. Correct, no students, website is critical for business process. Therefore, in case, if there is a situation, if there is a situation where the website storage is 5 GB in normal range, the company needs to make sure only 3 GB is accessible to public. When the data storage is increasing, then the company can extend to 4 GB while they work on increasing the original storage to 10 GB. So then the workflow may not get affected. The workflow may not get what students may not get affected. Are you understanding that point of view, students, if I am not mistaken? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with that point of view? Because that is very, 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 very important for understanding the application. Now, the next thing, students, let's come to the productivity. Now, the productivity is one more thing, the speed of service, everything. The after-sale service. The after-sale service is very critical since the customers may have some issues since it's used car. Therefore, the customer service needs to have a standard. Therefore, in that case, the company will be able to provide responses on time. Students, it's true because if you have ever worked in America, you will understand America is the only country in the world people work under high pressure and high stress. Next Japan and China. The reason is, students, the quality of the products they give for us is always having a high range of standard because they do it. Therefore, this can be one application. This can be one application. This is very good. And the last one, flexibility. The customer needs to feel it comfortable. For example, they have to have a flexibility in cancellation. And also there can be where the cost can be returned. And also the website can have a better features even in mobile phone. Full stop. Are you clear with that, student? So this is the application understanding of how the flexibility will work. Can I quickly get a confirmation? So I'm not going too much in detail, but I just want you to get the idea of the stress testing. Can I get a confirmation, students? Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me. But as a summary, I will give you a small summary so that it is very clear for you. Now, students, if you observe warranty, okay? Now let's assume normally, this is how, let's assume normally, let's assume you have a washing machine. Okay, you have a washing machine. Normally you can use for 4 years. You can use for how many years? 4 years. But you should not tell the customers 4 years. So when you do the stress testing, it is maximum for 4 years you can use. I can say stress test maximum how many years? 4 years. Okay. But to the market, you have to say, we are giving you how many years warranty? 2 years warranty. That's how Japanese products are very good in the world. Now, if I ask anyone which electronic products you like, Japan or China, 100% will say what, students? Japan. The reason is Japan uses stress testing for a long time. That means Japan will say 2 years warranty and give the impression to the customer that you can use it for 2 years. But effectively, students, they have done the stress testing for how many years? 4 years. Did you understand how the stress testing is applied in the real markets? Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? Because this is how you build a world-class quality product using stress testing. That is the reason. China doesn't do. They don't do stress testing. If they say 1 year means the product will be lasting for 2 months, everything out. The reason is there is no stress testing. Okay, so students, now since we know how to write the answer, how the case study is applied, now you have to start working with me. So I will give you the mock practice. So today or tomorrow, you will be getting the mock number 3 in our platform. And yes, you have to do it online. It's an online mock and unlimited times you can do it. But my suggestion, please do it one time. In case if you have technical issues, you do it many times. But if you do many times, the issue is you are not getting exposed to the system. And again, students, my objective of giving mocks is not to make sure that you are getting good results, just to give you the experience and to make sure you get used to the experience so that exam day will be a piece of cake. Now, I'll just go for one-to-one session with my students. So firstly, I will speak to Mr. Abdul Said, Abu Said. Mr. Said, any questions? Mr. Ali, any questions? Mr. Farhan, any questions? Mr. Kin, any questions? Mr. Ferdows, any question? Ms. Sigvalisi, any questions? Ms. Sridevi, any questions? Mr. Utum, any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thanks for your time. Take it very practical. You are a finance manager. Have that attitude. Definitely you will pass. Let's meet up on our next class, which will be on Tuesday. Thank you very much, students, for your time. Good night, everyone.